The night that changed everything began with a dare and ended with a promise. As Emma stumbled out of the corporate Christmas party, her designer heels clicking unsteadily on the icy sidewalk, she never imagined that the quiet janitor she'd barely noticed would become the person who saved her from herself. If you've ever believed that second chances come when we least expect them, this story might just restore your faith in holiday miracles. Like, subscribe, and join me on this journey of two broken souls who found healing in the most unexpected place. Emma Winters clutched her coat tighter as the December wind cut through her expensive wool blend. At 36, she had everything money could buy: the corner office at Pinnacle Investments, the penthouse overlooking Central Park, the respect that came with being the youngest female CEO in the company's history. Everything except someone to go home to on Christmas Eve. The holiday party had been a success by all corporate standards. Open bar, catered food, appropriate gift exchanges between colleagues who barely knew each other beyond their professional personas. Emma had played her part perfectly, making the rounds, laughing at the right moments, drinking just enough to seem festive but not unprofessional. At least, that had been the plan until the third glass of champagne. Then the fourth. By the fifth, the carefully constructed walls had begun to crumble. "Ms. Winters, do you need me to call you a car?" It was Marcus, the night janitor, standing by the exit with a concerned expression. She'd seen him around the building for years but had never bothered to learn his name until HR had included it in the company-wide Christmas card list. Emma waved him off with exaggerated confidence. "I'm perfectly capable of walking home. It's only 6 blocks. It's below freezing and after midnight," Marcus said quietly. "And you're—" "I'm what?" she challenged, her voice sharper than intended. "Drunk? Is that what you were going to say to your boss, Marcus?" He didn't flinch. "I was going to say, not dressed for the weather, but yes, also intoxicated." Something about his calm honesty made her bristle. "Tell you what," she said, pulling herself up to her full height, which even in heels was several inches shorter than him. "I challenge you to walk me home. 6 blocks. If I make it without stumbling once, you get a Christmas bonus. How's that sound?" Marcus sighed, glancing at his watch. "Ms. Winters, I have to." "Double your monthly salary," she interrupted. "One-time bonus. Consider it a Christmas miracle." She saw the calculation in his eyes, the momentary hesitation. What she didn't expect was his response. "I'll walk you home because it's the right thing to do, not for money," he said, shrugging off his worn jacket and placing it around her shoulders. "My shift ended 10 minutes ago anyway." The gesture caught her off guard. The jacket smelled of discount detergent and honest work, nothing like the designer fragrances that permeated her world. It was also surprisingly warm. They walked in silence for the first block, Emma concentrating hard on each step. The alcohol had hit her harder than expected, and the world tilted slightly with each footfall. By the second block, she'd given up the pretense of sobriety and accepted Marcus's offered arm. "So," she said, desperate to fill the awkward silence, "do you always spend Christmas Eve working?" "For the past 5 years, yes," he replied. "I volunteer for the holiday shifts. Time and a half pay, and it's not like I have anywhere else to be." "No family?" The question slipped out before she could filter it. "Just my daughter, Lily. She's 8. She'll be asleep when I get home, but we have our Christmas morning tradition." Emma felt a pang of something unfamiliar. Envy, perhaps? "That sounds nice." "It is. What about you? Big plans for Christmas Day?" She laughed, the sound brittle in the cold air. "Conference call with our Tokyo office at noon. Markets don't close for sentiment." Marcus didn't respond immediately, and when he did, his words carried no judgment. "That sounds lonely." The simple observation hit her like a physical blow. Lonely. Yes, that was exactly what it was. What she was. The realization, combined with the alcohol, made her eyes sting with unexpected tears. "I'm sorry," he said quickly. "That was out of line." "No," Emma whispered. "It was honest. I don't hear much honesty in my world." They reached her building, a gleaming high-rise with a uniformed doorman who looked surprised to see his employer in such a state. Emma fumbled for her key card, suddenly reluctant to end the conversation. "Would you like to come up for coffee?" she asked impulsively. "To warm up before heading back." Marcus hesitated. "I should get home to Lily." "Of course," Emma said, embarrassment flooding her cheeks. "I wasn't thinking. It's Christmas Eve, and you have a daughter waiting." "She's with my neighbor until morning," he clarified. "I just don't want to impose." Emma found herself smiling genuinely for the first time that night. It's not an imposition if it's an invitation. Besides, I make excellent coffee. Upstairs, her penthouse told the story she never spoke aloud. Immaculate furniture that had never known the weight of guests. A kitchen with professional-grade appliances that rarely saw use beyond the coffee maker. A Christmas tree, professionally decorated in silver and blue, with a conspicuous absence of personal ornaments or gifts. Marcus stood awkwardly in the entryway, his worn boots a stark contrast to the polished marble floor. "Nice place." "It's a space," Emma replied, suddenly seeing her home through his eyes. "Not sure it qualifies as a place yet." As she busied herself with the coffee maker, Marcus wandered to the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "Beautiful view." "It should be, for what it costs," she said, bringing 2 mugs to the living room. "Sometimes I wonder why I bothered. I'm rarely here to enjoy it." "Why did you?" he asked, accepting the coffee with a nod of thanks. Emma sank into the sofa, the alcohol making her more forthcoming than usual. "Because it's what successful people do. They buy expensive things to prove they're successful." "And are you?" "Successful, I mean." The question hung in the air between them. Emma stared into her coffee as if it might contain the answer. "By every metric that matters in my industry, yes," she finally said. "By any human metric. I'm not sure I remember what those are anymore." Marcus sat beside her, careful to maintain a respectful distance. "Can I ask you something personal? You're in my home at 1 in the morning on Christmas. I think we're past formalities. Why were you drinking alone at the company party?" Emma's laugh held no humor. "Who said I was alone? I was surrounded by 50 employees. That's not the same thing." "No," she admitted. "It's not." She took a deep breath. "Today was, my mother's birthday. December 24th. She loved that her birthday was Christmas Eve. Said it made the whole world celebrate with her." "When did you lose her?" 3 years ago. Cancer." Emma swallowed hard. "I was in Singapore closing a deal when she died. Didn't make it back in time." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "I'm sorry." "The worst part? I knew she was declining. The doctors had called. But I thought I had more time. I always thought I had more time." Emma's voice cracked. "That's the thing about time, we treat it like it's infinite until suddenly it's gone." "I know something about that," Marcus said softly. "Lily's mother left when she was 3. Just packed up one day while I was at work. Left a note saying she couldn't do the family thing anymore. I kept thinking she'd come back, that she just needed space. By the time I accepted she wasn't coming back, Lily had stopped asking for her." Emma felt a tear slide down her cheek. "How do you do it? Raise a child alone while working nights?" "One day at a time," he said simply. "Some days better than others. We make it work. She's lucky to have you." Marcus smiled, the first real smile she'd seen from him. "I'm the lucky one. She saved me. Gave me a reason to keep going when I wanted to give up." They talked through the night, the coffee growing cold as hours passed. Emma learned that Marcus had once been an architectural engineer before his company downsized during the recession. That he took the janitorial job as a temporary measure that became permanent when Lily's mother left. That he still sketched buildings in his spare time, dreams deferred but not forgotten. In turn, she found herself sharing things she'd never told anyone, how she'd clawed her way up from a middle-class background, how lonely it was at the top, how sometimes she wondered if the sacrifices had been worth it. "I grew up in Queens," Emma confessed, tucking her feet beneath her on the sofa. "My mother was a high school English teacher. My father left when I was 12. Never sent a dime of child support." "That must have been hard," Marcus said. Emma nodded. "Mom worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. Summer school during the day, waitressing at night. I barely saw her, but when I did, she was always so present. She'd ask about my day like it was the most important thing in the world." "Sounds like a remarkable woman." "She was." Emma's voice softened with memory. "She's the one who pushed me to apply for the scholarship to Columbia. Said education was the one thing no one could take from me. Smart lady. I worked so hard to make her proud. Graduated top of my class. Got recruited by Pinnacle right out of business school." Emma's expression clouded. "But somewhere along the way, I think I lost sight of what really mattered to her. It wasn't the money or the title. It was being present. Being human." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. "Success has different definitions. What's yours?" Emma asked, genuinely curious. He considered the question. "Seeing Lily grow into a kind person. Having enough to keep her safe and happy. Maybe someday finishing my architecture degree." He shrugged. "Simple things, I guess." "Not simple," Emma corrected. "Essential." As dawn broke over the city, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Emma realized with surprise that she felt lighter than she had in years. The alcohol had worn off hours ago, but something else had taken its place, a warmth that had nothing to do with her expensive heating system. "I should go," Marcus said, glancing at his watch. "Lily will be waking up soon, expecting Santa." "Of course," Emma said, suddenly reluctant to see him leave. "Thank you for everything." He stood, retrieving his jacket from where it had been forgotten on a chair. "Thank you for the coffee and conversation." An idea struck her, impulsive and probably inappropriate, but she couldn't stop herself. What if you brought Lily here? For Christmas breakfast? I have plenty of food, and this view is spectacular in the daylight." Marcus looked surprised. "That's very kind, but I wouldn't want to impose on your holiday." "Please," Emma said, the word unfamiliar on her lips. "I'd like the company. Unless you have other plans?" "Our tradition is pancakes and hot chocolate while opening presents," he admitted. "Nothing fancy." "I can do pancakes," Emma said quickly, then laughed at his skeptical expression. "Okay, I can learn to do pancakes. How hard can it be?" Marcus smiled. "Harder than you'd think, but not impossible." "Are you sure about this?" "No," she admitted honestly. "I'm not sure about anything right now. But I'd like to try." After he left, Emma stood at the window watching the city wake up. For the first time in years, she had no desire to check her email or review market reports. Instead, she found herself searching online for pancake recipes, making a shopping list, wondering if she had anything that might serve as a gift for an 8-year-old girl. She rummaged through her closets, finding a cashmere scarf still in its gift box, something she'd received from a client and never worn. It was a soft shade of purple that might appeal to a young girl. Then she remembered the art supplies store that opened early even on holidays, just a block away. She'd passed it countless times without a second glance. Emma showered quickly, trading her usual power suit for jeans and a sweater that hadn't seen daylight in months. The doorman did a double-take as she hurried past him into the crisp morning air. "Merry Christmas, Ms. Winters," he called after her, surprise evident in his voice. "Merry Christmas, George," she replied, realizing with a pang that she'd never bothered to use his name before, though he'd opened doors for her every day for 3 years. The art store was indeed open, a cheerful bell announcing her entrance. The elderly proprietor looked up from his newspaper, clearly not expecting customers so early on Christmas morning. "Can I help you find something?" he asked, setting aside his coffee. Emma hesitated, suddenly aware of how little she knew about children. "I need a gift for an 8-year-old girl who might like art." The man's face brightened. "Ah, a young artist. Let me show you some options." 30 minutes and several $100s later, Emma left with a professional-grade sketchbook, a set of watercolors, colored pencils, and various supplies the shopkeeper assured her would delight any budding artist. She'd also impulsively purchased a small easel, which the kind man had helped her carry back to her building. George's eyebrows rose even higher as he held the door for her and her awkward burden. "Special Christmas, Ms. Winters?" Emma found herself smiling. "I hope so, George. I really hope so." Back in her penthouse, she set up the art supplies by the Christmas tree, arranging them with more care than she'd given to any presentation in years. Then she turned her attention to the kitchen, pulling up a simple pancake recipe on her tablet. The first batch was a disaster, burned on the outside, raw in the middle. The second wasn't much better. By the third attempt, she'd managed something that at least resembled pancakes, though they were oddly shaped and inconsistent in color. "Good enough," she muttered, setting the plate aside and checking the time. It was nearly 9. Marcus had said they'd come around 10, which gave her just enough time to tidy up the kitchen and change into something less flour-covered. At precisely 10 o'clock, her doorbell rang. Emma smoothed her casual sweater, the most informal thing she owned, and took a deep breath before opening the door. Marcus stood there, looking different in daylight and civilian clothes. Beside him was a small girl with her father's eyes and a cautious smile, clutching a wrapped package. "Merry Christmas," Lily said shyly. "Dad said you invited us for pancakes. We brought you a present." Emma felt something crack open inside her chest, something that had been frozen for longer than she cared to admit. "Merry Christmas, Lily," she said, stepping aside to welcome them in. "I've been looking forward to meeting you." Lily's eyes widened as she entered the penthouse, taking in the high ceilings and panoramic views. "Wow! You can see the whole city from here. Pretty amazing, right?" Emma said, leading them into the living room. "I thought we could have breakfast and then maybe open some presents." Lily's gaze darted to the art supplies arranged beneath the tree, her expression a mixture of curiosity and uncertainty. "Are those?" "Santa might have mentioned you like to draw," Emma said, catching Marcus's eye with a small smile. "Dad, look!" Lily exclaimed, rushing to examine the easel. "It's just like the one in art class at school." Marcus looked at Emma with a mixture of gratitude and something else she couldn't quite identify. "You didn't have to do that." "I wanted to," she said simply. The morning unfolded in ways Emma could never have anticipated. Lily laughed at Emma's misshapen pancakes but declared them actually pretty good after drowning them in maple syrup. Marcus took over the next batch, demonstrating a surprising skill at flipping them to Lily's delight. "Dad makes the best pancakes," Lily informed Emma seriously. "He puts cinnamon in the batter." "Is that the secret?" Emma asked, watching as Marcus moved confidently around her barely used kitchen. "One of many," he replied with a wink that sent an unexpected flutter through her chest. After breakfast, they moved to the living room where Lily presented Emma with the package she'd brought. Inside was a handmade ornament, a star crafted from popsicle sticks and covered in glitter. "I made it in school," Lily explained. "Dad said you might not have many ornaments since you work so much." Emma blinked back sudden tears. "It's beautiful, Lily." Would you like to hang it on the tree? As Lily carefully placed her creation among